SoundGuys election coverage 2024.
and welcome to the SoundGuys podcast, live election coverage 2024, brought to you by your local Dodge dealer. Neighborhood Nick, we are here. Can you believe we did this 4 years ago remotely? Can you, share
It was 4 years ago. It was in Denver. That's where I was, at least.
Wait a second. No. I'm Crispin Smith. I apologize, folks.
You got the names wrong. I see.
We start off. No, we start off.
We're not at Nathaniel Verstappen yet.
There
we go. That works.
Excellent.
Yes. Well done. Well done indeed.
Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SoundGuys election coverage 2024. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. As you can see, the hair is overgrown. Beards are happening. This man has 3 children now. Insanity has occurred.
We don't talk about my. Are you kidding me? We don't talk about my children like that. Neighborhood Nick. This is a family show. We don't talk about those kind of things around here. But that's okay.
No, you're fine.
I didn't ask for that. I mean, it just kind of happened. They walked up to me and they said, "Hey, are you interested in having children?" And I said, "Yeah. How does that work?" Now we have to for our audience at home. We have to make sure we get our cameras right because this is a professional broadcast.
It is.
One thing I'd like to give a huge shout out to before we get this thing off on the road is all the volunteers that help make this possible.
Yes.
We have a live shot of the studio. We want to show everyone everybody that made this happen.
Thank you.
Look at this.
Thank you so much.
The whole studio floor, it's a big deal. It is an absolute big deal on how this has happened.
This has been...
That's my camera 2. So I think
yes, that is camera 2.
Camera 1, right there, Neighborhood Nick.
Thank you.
That's it. Excellent.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit so tell us more about Neighborhood Nick, what we're going to be covering tonight in this, 4 hour, 5 hour?
Who knows? Who knows what this is actually going to entail, ladies and gentlemen. We have a presidential election. We have a Senate going up for grabs.
Way too much.
Yes. Fine. Howdy, y'all. We got a Senate race going on across the country. Actually, 1/3 of the Senate is up for grabs today, and all of the House of Representatives as well. The entire path of the country is going to be determined by the election today, and it's going to influence the rest of the world as well. As we saw in that beautiful intro video that was well made and wonderfully crafted.
That was a beautiful intro video you made there, Neighborhood Nick.
Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta say, the production value was absolutely stunning. I
thought it was fantastic.
All right, back to you, brother.
I thought it was fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be covering not only the predictions.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We are going to be covering the predictions for senator races, the presidency, and House of Representatives. You are not going to want to miss out on tonight's coverage. We're also going to be covering analysis, going through the results as they happen, and we're a little bit later than most people. We wanted the race to kind of heat up a little bit, get a few of the states in, and we're starting to get some of these results coming in. I can see on a screen back here the Associated Press right now, ladies and gentlemen, calling a bunch of different states, but we still have our main battleground states happening, and we're going to be talking about those today.
Tonight,
in fact.
Is it
yes.
tonight? It is tonight. Don't get me wrong.
It is tonight. It is tonight. That is what we're going to be covering. I'm trying to get my freaking map.
Well, while that's happening, we want to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor for tonight's broadcast is Dodge Ram Pickups, or Ram Pickups as they call them, the 2500. That's right. We don't have any sponsorship material or commercials to talk about specifically, but those pickups, they outperform, they out-tow, and they're definitely American-made. And that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. We're voting American. That's exactly what the day is all about. And we do have a map. It looks like you're dragging it up on...
I'm trying to. It's not working for me, though.
That's not going to work at all, my friend.
No, it's not.
But that's okay.
We'll fix that.
One of the biggest things you can expect from tonight's show is we're going to have minute-by-minute coverage of all of the local precincts coming in from across the United States, including some of our reporters in the field. Not only that do we also have our reporters in the field, we also have some folks that are actually going to be calling in, and we have some pundits that we're looking at. This is very much the upscale broadcast that you're expecting to have for a breath of fresh air from all of the other noise you see from the networks themselves. This is unbiased, and this is going to be absolutely what you expect on both sides. I just got a notification. Oh, we just received some donations. Thanks for that.
Nonsense.
That's
what?
Awesome. Well, thanks for those who donate for these broadcasts, because heaven knows these things don't fund themselves. And goodness gracious, look at the volunteers one more time that just
beautiful
put
people.
This thing on.
Beautiful people.
I mean,
it's fantastic. Also, one other final thing that I wanted to make sure that everyone was well aware of.
And
We
do.
are monitoring the chat as well. So if you have,
Kevin said hi.
I saw Kevin and D Chen. Thank you. We're hello there. Happy to have you guys here. If you have questions, comments, concerns, I already received a few texts privately of some questions that we're going to need to go through. Private texts that we're going to have to go through a little bit later.
Kevin, how does our audio sound? Because that's what Kevin always does, apparently. He's always about the audio.
That is his job.
I know. Yeah.
We pay
I still
him
can't find
for
the chat
this.
window, though. It's
I have it on my phone.
Oh, you do?
Yes, so I can see the chat personally here. Crispin Smith doesn't need to know what's going on.
I've got it. No, what? I need to know these things.
Maybe.
It's very important.
Perhaps.
Back to camera roll.
Well, I would actually like to get our map here, this blank map here. We're using 270 to win, ladies and gentlemen. This is a blank map coming at you right now. And we already have a few states. I just want to fill in real quick the states that we're not really concerned about whatsoever. We already know who's going to win some of these things. So, starting, we're going to take Florida, South Carolina. We know West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah. What else do we know? We know Iowa. We know Indiana. We know Ohio. These are what we can... Oh, and Texas. And Alaska. These are going to be our safe Republican ones. Not really too concerned about them whatsoever right now. I'm getting waved by one of the volunteers that things are changing, though. And I can see on the Associated Press we got a little craziness happening.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
We got things going on.
Let's take a look. Let's bring up the big map. I think I have a live map over here. I'm going to come back on mine and take a look at this one. We're going to go live to the election results on camera. No, GFX3, correct? Yeah, look at that. This is Wyoming, Nebraska. Well, actually, this isn't exciting. Are you kidding me? We already knew this, right?
A lot of these we already know. This is an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. Virginia right now. Highlight Virginia.
Yeah, where's Virginia?
Right, up there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is kind of odd, but 57% reporting. This could be that could be a very interesting swing right there if Virginia goes Republican. I'm not sure right now. That's not an easy thing to call. New Mexico, Minnesota's kind of wild. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, that's fascinating. Iowa turning blue seems very sketchy. Kansas being blue, very, very odd in fact as well. So we're going to be definitely monitoring some of this. It looks like Georgia is leaning towards Donald Trump right now. That's to be expected. Maine is one of those states that's kind of split up. Nebraska as well is split up.
Fill me in though. I don't understand. Now, when we're turning blue, what are these colors about again? Because I'm not 100% familiar with the whole color thing. Can you help me out?
Yes, Crispin Smith. Yes, we went over this last time as well.
We did.
But basically what happens is the red represents the Republican Party, which is kind of funny because it's also the color of the Communist Party. And blue...
I don't think you should say that. This is a family show. Can I touch you? May I touch you? Can I touch you on live television?
Now we're getting woke, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting a bit
we
woke now.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't know why our confidence monitor is so high, because it looks like we're looking way up in the sky when we should be looking at our viewers at home. I digress. It's a technical thing.
We're working on
We're
it.
here.
We're working on it, though.
All right, back. So we have Virginia went Republican.
It's not 100% yet.
But is Virginia a Republican state?
It has not been.
Oh.
It has been very Democrat for quite some time, so that's interesting. I'm not willing to call that one yet. I think there's still some work that needs to be done on that. I am very curious about Kansas, but again, this is early. It's early in the night, ladies and gentlemen. We don't really know for sure where things are going right now, but that's going to be very fascinating to see how that turns out. I'm going to go ahead and fill out my map of what I believe is going to be safe across the board for people.
So we're going back to that now. We want to see what your hypothesis may be.
No, I don't think Indiana. That's not correct
Let's
at all.
take a look.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say that a lot tonight, just so you know. Missouri, that's the one I'm looking at. I'm going to say this is kind of strange. It's weird that I thought Virginia was easily going to be that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got some stuff happening here.
Where's my telephone? Has anyone seen my cell phone in the studio? That would be fabulous if we could find that. Let's look right. We got one volunteer right there. Look at this guy. He is working hard. He's working hard back there. Excellent, man. He's just putting in the hard hours. He doesn't even drink coffee, folks. Just to be real about this, he doesn't even drink coffee, and he's just going to be with us all night. He set the whole thing up. We just came in, put on some makeup and ties, and that was that. So big shout out to that volunteer, unnamed and incognito. All right, back to you. I apologize.
I don't have a tie. Not tonight.
That's fine.
You have the tie.
I
You
do.
do have the ties.
Because God knows I look far better in a tie.
It's true.
I think I do.
It's very true. I think that's
Let's,
100%
Like,
accurate.
comment, subscribe. Put in the comments and say, hey, look, do you look all right in the tie? Does the tie, I think my lav works right. Kevin, does the tie look good? Kevin, does the tie look okay? Does the hair look okay? Does the audio sound good? Thank you, Kevin.
He's all right saying my breathing's messed up, so
I know he did.
it's always the breathing.
Yeah, man, you always just.
I have a heavy breath. I have a heavy
You know,
breath.
it's like,
Hello,
ladies and
Dana.
gentlemen.
It is an honor to have you here with us as well.
Oh, Dana. I don't know. who
Dana
that
is commenting.
Great. Splendid.
Thank you.
To that end,
Go back to my map.
Oh, your map. Absolutely.
Yes.
I can do it for you. Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is where I believe.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is where I believe. These are going to be our
man.
main battleground states. Things could change. If things are going crazy, we're going to have chaos in the country, believe me. But these are where we're going to really be focusing in on. The polling data has been all over the place for the last few weeks on these toss-up states. We have Nevada, we have Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, making that Sun Belt, the Rust Belt with Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Nebraska's 2nd District. That's going to be very fascinating to see how this is going to play out tonight. But there's one hypothesis which I believe would be an absolute nightmare for the country. Can I share what that's going to be?
Show us, Neighborhood Nick.
The nightmare situation for the country is going to be
You're taking forever, Neighborhood Nick.
right here.
Oh.
If you look at this, did I mess up? No, I don't think I did. This is the nightmare situation for the country right now, is coming down to where we have a tie. Oops, that's not what we wanted at all.
Neighborhood Nick, what are you trying to share with us? Just, you can verbalize it, speak it out, we'll be okay.
We could have a hypothetical tie right here. We could have a 269-269 moment.
269.
269 to 269, where no one wins the Electoral College. Ladies and gentlemen, if this comes to fruition, and this nightmare happens, the president would be decided by the House of Representatives, and the vice president would be chosen by the U.S. Senate. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but we could have a President Trump, Vice President Waltz situation. Be fantastic. Be fantastic. We could have a unity ticket in this country with a Republican and a Democrat happening all at the same time. But this is a slim possibility. I'm looking at the Associated Press map here. This is kind of terrifying right now. I don't know what's happening over there. Nathaniel Verstappen over there is also laughing his head off, and things could be going crazy for all I know.
I think Nathaniel Verstappen is actually talking about the fact that we can't get our graphics package up exactly the way we want it. But that's okay. We're still working on it. The question I have, though, is that, I mean, you look, we're just an absolute mess. We're all over the place. But
We are quite all over the place right now.
Okay. We did get that comment from, looks like from Kevin. He mentioned that apparently I have too much coffee, and that's great. I do appreciate that. Now, Maria does say that would be awful. And it looks like we do have, if Trump loses, there was a cheating situation again. What do you think about that? Oh, those comments are right up there on the screen.
Oh, hello, comments.
Well, look at
It's
that.
not 100% easy for me to see, but
That absolutely is trash. It's absolute trash. Maybe our volunteer will assist with that in terms of getting those things back on fire. But Neighborhood Nick, let's elaborate a bit more on that tie. So what happens if they cheat once again? Is that what we're saying? Are we already taking that spin for today's show?
I'm not willing to say that tonight, because we still have a lot of states to play out. It's not guaranteed what's going to happen as of right now. As I was saying, though, ladies and gentlemen, the big ones that we need to be very conscientious about, I'm going to put them right back up here, is our battleground states here. These are going to be the 7 states, well, technically Nebraska's 2nd district as well. This could be the 7 states that determine the outcome of not just America, but the free world as a whole. And we're going to talk a bit more about the consequences of all that going on. This is for the presidency, ladies and gentlemen. We also have 2 other things going on that I don't have the map for correct right now. And I'm a little saddened that I don't have that. But I do want us to take a quick peek here. I want us to take just a quick look. That's not what I wanted.
We can hear your phone. You have a viewer base that is just blowing.
It's going crazy. This is to compare. This is what happened in 2020 by the majority of people. Some people say it was cheating. Some people don't say it was cheating. Regardless, this was the outcome of 2020. So we can see right off the bat, if Trump can pull off Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, that's already a major flip. He still is going to need some of those Rust Belt states, though. Still needs Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If he gets North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and one of those Rust Belt states, it's all over. Now, the quickest path to victory, if we go back to our 2024 consensus right now, this is where most pundits, this is where the polls are currently going. We have Arizona. Georgia's leaning towards Trump right now. I've seen on the Associated Press, we got different states kind of changing things up. The quickest path for victory is going to be Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If he can get those 3 states tonight, this is all over. The other states don't even matter. That's if he can get that. Those are going to be quick. Arizona looks pretty good. If he can hold on to that and those 3 states, we're good. We're golden. Trump's good. Now, Kamala Harris's quickest path to victory is just solidifying those Rust Belt states. That's all she needs to get is just those Rust Belt states. She can win. If Trump takes one of those Rust Belt states, he's most likely winning tonight. So we're going to have a very exciting election throughout this entire night. We hope that you can stay with us throughout this entire time frame. We're not sleeping tonight at all. There will be no sleep for... What
Brooklyn?
are we?
No sleep till Brooklyn? Is that a song?
That is a song, yes. No sleep till Brooklyn.
No sleep till Brooklyn. I think that was a good song, wasn't it?
I think so. I think so.
Well, to that end, it's very important. We have a live feed from our pundit out there. We do have looks like in the field. Now, I'm still trying to navigate some of our software, but let's go ahead and bring over to our pundit over there. Actually, it looks like no one's currently there at the moment. This is a live shot of the Vatican, where apparently they are monitoring the American elections as well.
They have to be watching all of it.
This is a big deal. And the Vatican has reported that they are trying to ensure a victory for one of the other sides. So we can't really say which one as of yet. But currently, our correspondent in the field is not there. So we'll just go ahead and have to come back to that at a later time.
I see.
It's a bummer, but to that end, Neighborhood Nick, let's talk a little bit more about what we have cooking up here for the rest of our show in the bottom of the hour. You have prepared some phenomenal educational material for our viewers at home.
We are going to be talking about the Senate. We're going to be talking about the House, the presidency throughout tonight. We're going to be going through it. We have our Senate election map. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the House of Representatives. And so, right before we kind of break for commercial, we'll show a few of those throughout the entire night as well. It's not going to be right now, but we are going to be covering every single race today. Everything's on the line. Everything's on the line tonight. Control of the House, control of the Senate, control of the presidency, leading the United States of America, leading the free world.
Absolutely. Looks like President Trump is currently also talking to some folks in Pittsburgh. We don't have his audio at the moment, but I don't know exactly what he's talking about. But one can only imagine that he is trying to rally up the people in now Pittsburgh is in Washington State, right?
This is also old footage.
But this is old footage.
Yes.
Where is this from?
Well, it was technically 4 hours before Election Day, so
How about that? Well, the wonders of technology making things great again.
that's also Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Now,
Yes.
Pennsylvania is a red state, correct?
It's a battleground
Now,
state.
Red.
It's
now-
a swing state.
Okay. So let's talk about the colors briefly, because that was one thing I didn't quite understand. The colors stand for red for winners, blue for losers.
No.
Okay. How
Red is Republican.
red is Republican.
Blue is Democrat.
Oh, I didn't mean to apologize. Well, we're not trying to, pick sides one way or the other on this show. This is an unbiased, fair-leaning show. I just
True,
never understood the colors. Now, why don't we have other colors? Why was the red and blue specifically part of this? Like, why wouldn't we have, green or black? Black's a shade. It's not a color. We could have pink. We could have,
If we had multiple parties on the ballots,
Now, why
Yes.
don't we have multiple parties? That sounds like a great subject. Like, I don't understand this.
so there's actually, in political science, there's very few scientific laws in political science.
Sure.
One of them, ladies and gentlemen, is Duverger's law.
Oh, boy.
Duverger's law stipulates that as long as you have a first-past-the-post system with single-member districts, you are automatically going to have a two-party system. There's no way past it, with the exception of one nation, that is the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom somehow has able to get multiple parties, but that's also because they have massive amounts of representatives in the United Kingdom.
You know, you reminded me one thing. You mentioned that this has been the heaviest election year from a global standpoint.
From a global standpoint, over half of the entire world, over 4 billion people, have had an election this year. This is the largest year for democracy across the world that we have seen in human history. And as we saw in that intro video, things kind of went all over the place. Some things trended where we thought they would, and things trended in ways that we didn't expect. But across the entire world, over 4 billion people have already gone to the polls in the United States of America right now, closing it out for this year.
Neighborhood Nick, I got to tell you, I am sleepy.
I think you need coffee.
That's a lot. That's a lot to share. But to that end, it looks like we got some election results coming here right now from Indiana. It looks like Donald Trump, looks like 1 million of the precincts reporting at 59% for Indiana. That's looking good.
Indiana was expected to go to Donald Trump.
Kentucky, 64%. Now, I said Kentucky. Now, I don't think that's how you pronounce it.
I believe it's called Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I believe.
Actually, we've been to Kentucky. We've been to Owensboro. We've been out there. You know what's funny about it, Kentucky is that they don't really like people from the West. From the when you're from California, they don't, and we don't claim ownership to be California, but they seem to have Has anyone found my phone? By the way, there it is. Well, hey, look at that. I didn't realize there was a camera still on it. That looked pretty good. Anyways, I digress. Ohio, 56. Thank you so much, sir. One of our volunteers is leaving for the night. He'll be back, I'm sure. Where's that camera shot? Wait, no, you got to wave at the people before you leave. That's not fair. We can't have you going anywhere without, I see. I apologize. Hang on. Stand by, my friend. He is a camera 5. Camera 5 is very important. I did not put that on here for some reason. Ladies and gentlemen, our volunteer, one of our fearless volunteers leaving. Good Lord, are you kidding me? We can never get anything right. There he is. Thank you, everybody, for making this
Thank you,
happen.
Nathaniel Verstappen.
That's right, Nathaniel Verstappen. He'll be back
We'll see him later.
with a little something extra.
Yes,
That's true.
yes. He is an expert in the field.
I lost my train of thought because I had all these texts coming in. Can you imagine? I mean, this is quite a. Oh, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. There's just so much. So, one of the biggest things that I was concerned about is the crypto markets. Because if you think about this election plays a big role on some of our Bitcoin, Shiba, Dogecoin. We could see either huge market plunges or we could see huge market rallies based on tonight's victor. You have comments on that? No, I see I've stumped you because he doesn't necessarily like crypto. But I'll tell you one thing.
It's not necessarily about the crypto that has me shocked, but we will definitely be talking about crypto because that is something that both candidates have been highly emphasizing I do want to point out 270 to win has called North Carolina. It has called one of the battleground states already. It is going to Trump. They're willing to finish that one off. Associated Press, not quite there yet, but it seems to be trending towards Trump. That would be a major victory for Donald Trump if North Carolina truly does stay Republican. That is a major piece of the puzzle for him to win the presidency. We can also see here, ladies and gentlemen, we have different Senate races going on. Bernie Sanders, of course, was going to win in Vermont. There's no surprise on that one whatsoever.
He had to go cast his ballot. It was important for him to go leave because he ran out the clock on.
Yes, he does need to get that done.
It's important. And now here on the West Coast, when do the polls closing?
Most polls, our polls are still going on here in California till about 8 p.m., some places a little bit later. There's a few places.
Why is it that we can never get those lower thirds correct? Because I'm Crispin Smith.
You are Crispin Smith, and I am the neighborhood Nick.
We didn't change seats.
No,
no. It blows my mind that, with all the technology that you have, you can't get it right,
But we're so close. We're so close.
Really upsetting. It really is. Okay, I do apologize. That was a digression.
I was
talking about crypto.
Yes, and the crypto market is a very interesting realm in the world of politics because what we're going to see, both candidates have been very open about crypto. Donald Trump has been open to the idea of allowing crypto to continue to flourish, which is interesting because that's a very anti-government kind of a proposal. Most governments would want to really hone in and try to control crypto, much like the Communist Party in China. But Donald Trump seems to be open to it. He wants to see Bitcoin flourish. He wants America to lead in the crypto market. Kamala Harris, likewise, has also stated that she wants to see crypto in the United States flourish with a little bit more oversight. So there's subtle differences going on in the realm of crypto. I will say, though, that the crypto markets are probably going to do better with Donald Trump if he is the winner tonight. We're going to find out. It's going to be quite fascinating, honestly, to see how that is going to shape out. Thank you for those comments. We are very happy to see you guys joining us tonight. Keep those comments pouring in. If you have questions, ladies and gentlemen, we are more than willing to take those questions, whatever they may be. Keep it family friendly, of course. And we will be continuing on.
What is even going on? So, this makes no sense. We have an election every 4 years. And do the results actually matter?
The results matter heavily.
If the past 4 years, it feels like it's been relatively kind of hum and glum. But the markets, on the other hand, have just seemed to just ignore the fact
we are at a very high stock market.
We are.
The stock market has been sailing.
It just seems off, doesn't it?
The stock market has been going crazy. It's absolutely massive on the stock side of things. Crypto has been going up as well. But
Doge is already back up. Just 5 points in the past 3 hours as Trump is looking like picking up more and more states.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess I've been checking out. We've only been live for the past 30 minutes, and I think I've checked out a bit. Wait, where are we at in this election again? Who's winning? What's going on?
As of right now, with the states that have been officially called, both by the Associated Press and by 270 to win, right now Donald Trump has a pretty strong lead going into things. This is 270 win. It's already called North Carolina, which is quite fascinating to see that North Carolina has been called already. Still not sure about Nebraska's secondary districts. Maine, we still have a few other things happening over here. Florida, Texas, those are the big ones. Those are going to be heavy hitters for Donald Trump. Ohio. It's fascinating that Iowa's still a bit of a toss-up right now, which is kind of fascinating to see. I'm looking over at Associated Press. They have Iowa leaning blue, Kansas kind of moving red, which 270 is already called for Kansas. Georgia as well.
I see what Nathaniel did. He dropped our confidence monitor behind the cameras.
Yes, so now we're looking directly at the cameras.
Looking directly at the cameras.
Yes. These are very important races that are going on as well.
It almost obstructs the entire thing. Like I can't see anything. If we go, you can see the monitor is now in front of our camera.
That's true. That is true.
And it's a real pain in the neck. I might have to go move that back up. I personally would prefer to be looking up at a screen that I can see everything.
That's fair.
A camera
that is fair.
In front
That
of
is
it.
fair.
Who are these people?
This is our Florida Senate race. Rick Scott is winning that one. Ted Cruz winning Texas for our Senate race. That's going to be massive for the Senate. The Senate's already projected to go to Republican hands. It's only going to determine by how much. That's
Right.
what we're going to see tonight. Because West Virginia, Montana are projected already to move towards the Republican side. West Virginia's already been called for the Senate. It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk more about the Senate. We can play, actually. We could, if we wished. We could play that little Senate educational video, if you would like. We are able to move in that direction. But we're going to be definitely staying in tune with the Senate races. The Senate is crucial.
Right.
The Senate is a crucial aspect to this entire operation of the U.S. government. Think about the Senate. These are the people who are confirming nominees. They confirm justices. They confirm ambassadors. They confirm heads of agencies. They are voting on very integral aspects of the American foreign policy and domestic policy. There's only 2 for each state. It's a very competitive race, very difficult statewide races going on, and it's usually been pretty split. It's been heavily split throughout the last 8 to 10 years, in fact. And there's some interesting quirks that go along with the Senate as well. But the Senate is very much integral to forwarding the president's agenda. If the Senate is in the opposing party, which we haven't seen since 2016. Did you know this? Since 2016 to the present, the Senate has only been the party of the president. Before that, we had a little change, a little diversity here and there. But as of right now, the Senate has only been the party of the president since 2016. We have no idea how this very hyperpolarized world would react if the Senate and the president are in different parties. It slows everything down, and America is designed to be slow. We're not a country designed to be changing fast. We're a country designed to go slow.
You mentioned now Skaggs. I've met Brian Cox, and he's a nice guy. He actually he's more or less very very faith based.
Spencer Cox in Utah?
Yeah, Brian Cox. I've met him.
I thought it was Spencer.
No, Mr. Cox. I've met him. And, he actually has some really interesting ways of running his state. Utah, out of all the places, you say what you want about their faith and whatever it may be. They're pro-business. They're, anti, the handout. They're really trying hard to build a state that can support itself and support its people. And that's a nice thing. Now, to that end, you look at another state that, has more of a change. I flew into Portland recently, and
Portland, Oregon's an interesting
did you know that
place.
Connie Chung is still doing shows?
I did not know this.
I was driving. The traffic is a nightmare. You get there, it's only 2 miles from point A to point B, but it takes you 45 minutes.
Cool.
You might as well just walk it. But,
True.
But what really surprised me about Portland was that you have such this dense population, but yet it's such it's so full of apathy. A lot of folks that just don't necessarily seem to want to get out of the way. They see cars on the sidewalks, and they just won't get out of the way. And it's a sidewalk, for crying out loud. Sometimes there will be a car there, and the same thing goes with the venues themselves. A lot of bars, things are actually broken up to where you couldn't see a lot of these. Open access. It was very, and then you go to Utah or like Salt Lake City, or a place like North Ogden. People are walking freely. There's a McDonald's on every corner, which was very surprising. I don't really know why McDonald's was such a big thing back there, just like Starbucks.
McDonald's always a big thing.
Is
Everywhere.
it?
Everywhere
Now,
it's a big thing.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Montana. This is very fascinating stuff. Now, if we look at you mentioned that there's two people that run Senate and a congressman, correct?
Well, Montana is one of those states that has 2 senators, and now it has 2 House of Representative members as well. It gained one in the 2020 census. So
Really?
it's actually gaining a little bit more influence. This is, I do want to take a moment here. Montana is expected to flip in the Senate race. It is expected to go from John Tester, who's been the Democrat senator there for quite some time, to Tim Sheehy. It looks like that is going to happen tonight.
Wait, so we're actually losing, so the Democrats are losing some ground?
They've lost some ground in Montana. It was already expected that the Senate is going to flip to the Republicans. They're going to lose West Virginia, which has already happened. And it looks like they're losing Montana. We're going to find out tonight. And there's a few other states that might flip as well. So we could be seeing a larger Republican majority in the Senate, which could be a very fascinating thing. I am looking, this is very interesting. According to...
I don't have your screen up here.
It's okay. We don't need my screen right now.
We don't need to see your screen?
No, I'm just laying out some numbers right now. If we go by the Associated Press, they are leaning Virginia. Right now, Virginia, Trump is winning Virginia by the vote total with 66% reporting. However, exit polls are hinting that Kamala Harris is going to win that state. I expect Virginia to still go Democrat simply because of Richmond and Arlington. Those areas are massively Democratic. But it's very fascinating. Right now, Donald Trump does have roughly a 20,000 vote lead. So that's interesting. Still a good ways to go on the night for Virginia. But an interesting update on that front. Associated Press just called another state. According to the Associated Press...
Did Noe join us? We had our crypto expert on, and it looks like but he's actually in the comments section. I don't know if he'll be joining in to talk about crypto.
We could probably find a way to get him in here a little bit later tonight.
I don't know if he actually wants to come, but he is in the... nice to see you, Noe, there. Happy to join the broadcast.
We love it. We love Noe. He's an amazing guy.
You know, Noe, he'll take a bullet for you. He's a real gangster. He's a great guy.
He will.
Love him. Yeah,
He
absolutely. He's a real...
Speaking
phenomenal.
of Utah has been called for Trump as well.
Now, weren't you talking about Skaggs? Now, is Skaggs is he still in the race, or did he back out? I can't see because the screen is behind all my cameras.
Which Skaggs?
Rick Skaggs, Boss Skaggs. He was Senate. He was going against Mitt Romney. Is that correct?
Mitt Romney's retired.
Huh.
Mitt Romney has retired. He's no longer running.
Who was? You made a comment that Skaggs was not going to be able to make it because he didn't have the endorsement, but he just dropped out of the race, and he ceded to the opponent. Like we're talking about 2 months ago, like a month ago, and you made this call like back in.
Are you talking the Utah governorship race?
Where were we in March?
Utah.
And that dude.
He was running for governor.
Right. Was he running for governor?
I believe he was running for governor.
Huh.
And it was a battle between him and someone else for the endorsement of Donald Trump, and they were both going as extreme MAGA as you could go,
totally.
trying to win Donald Trump's
He made
support.
it pretty far, man. That was the point.
He did. He didn't let go.
That was the point. He really surprisingly, put in some legwork.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay.
He put in a heavy fight.
But the thing is, why would you bother? I mean, let's talk about this. The game has become a lot of these things from a policy standpoint, they're driven from the people up. Mm-hmm. Is that still how this works? So when you have a policy that's introduced by special interest or whatever it may be, it has to be, do you really feel like Trump is going to bring a new world order to policy making, specifically when it comes from the people, the public themselves, introducing policy through their local city councils into the governorship and then up into actual federal standards?
Well, when we're looking at individual states,
right?
Individual states are going to be going through things very, very differently, because the way that the ground level from a state, this is why it's so important. Your city council elections,
right?
Your county elections, your board of supervisors, your school board, all of those elections are actually much more important
They are.
than the federal ones that we are talking about tonight.
That's what I'm alluding to.
People often forget the power of local government. Those actually
correct.
play a heavier role in your day-to-day life than the federal side of the government. The federal side, though, if you view it from the top down, then the federal side is going to play influence into the state governments, and that's going to kind of go on. The way that the United States government is set up, though, every state has a lot of autonomy. Every state can do things very differently. One of the things that we saw, especially where this happened, after Roe v. Wade was overturned in the Supreme Court, different states went differently on the abortion issue. You have Florida going very pro-life. You have a state like California going in the polar opposite direction. Ohio going a little bit more pro-choice than we had expected. Same thing with Kansas. Abortion is on the ballot in the state of Nevada, which has a very interesting ballot measure process that is kind of foreign to a lot of different states, where you have to get it passed not once, but twice. This is the second time. So if it passes, abortion will be codified in the state of Nevada Constitution. But different states are going to go on different targets. Different states have different taxation. All of that is on a local level, and that's why the local election is critical. If you're not paying attention to your local elections, the federal ones aren't going to make much of a difference. And that's something that we often forget. I think of, looking at Sacramento, Redding, Salt Lake City, Austin, Dallas, big cities. Big cities all run completely different from one another. Your life is going to be dramatically different depending on what city you're actually in, what county you're in, because the local politicians have a very much more heavy influence on your day-to-day life than Donald Trump, than Kamala Harris, than anything of that sort. It's very fascinating. When we actually dive deeper into the Constitution, the aspects of the federal government, the things that we give them such high priority in, really is not in the Constitution for what they're supposed to be doing. For example, the president, this is going to blow people's mind, the original executive orders had nothing to do with legislative process.
Wait.
The original executive order was to, if Congress passed a law that was vague, say, you have to tax this group. Well, how? What percentage? That's where the executive order would come in to give clarity on how to actually execute the law. Now, executive orders are seen ever since, I believe it was Thomas Jefferson where this started happening. Executive orders became more of a legislative process where now you have the president actually issuing law from the White House. That was not the original intention of the Founding Fathers. Same thing with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was never intended to legislate from the bench, only to rule if a law was constitutional or not. But that changed after John Marshall. Massive changes that happened throughout the federal government. But I digress. Stay tuned to your local politics. This is a majorly important thing. Your local politics are going to determine so much of your life.
Wow. Well said. Now, I heard a comment. I do apologize. I just cannot get over the fact that I'm completely disconnected from how smart you are.
Wow. That's what you got from all that.
Well, I mean,
That's fantastic.
You really went deep, and all I was trying to say was that it's true. It's, you have a people that are dealing with these, they put so much credence in what happens, and then tomorrow, regardless what happens, when you wake up tomorrow, we're going to have a new president, hopefully.
Maybe.
But
Well, the new president doesn't come in until January 21st.
No, I understand, but someone will be elected, and
Correct.
yeah, everybody
Correct.
wins on their bets in January. But the thing I think I would really want to drive home is that I think in the past 8 years, we have put so much emotion into who's sitting in the presidency versus spending that time with our local organizations and building the community first and starting there, because the community is what actually matters, not really who's sitting in the seat, to my knowledge. Now, yeah,
True.
there's a few things, but really we put so much so much psychological credence into that. It is, I don't know, man.
Speaking of local politics, this actually just came through on the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. Voters in Florida have narrowly rejected a measure to overturn the state's 6-week abortion ban. That is a major pro-life victory in the state of Florida. That was one of the measures that people were heavily campaigning on, trying to overturn that 6-week abortion ban in Florida.
Right.
It looks like it is going to stay the law in Florida for the time being. Local politics.
Yeah.
Local politics going on right there. That is massive. That's going to play a role in Florida's future political situation. That's going to play a role in Georgia and South Carolina, the states surrounding Florida. That's going to be pretty important to
just reaching out. Also, we want to thank our viewers that are dialing in here. If there's any questions we have, obviously, I cannot be the Crispin Smith that I normally on our normal shows. This is the SoundGuysPodcast.com, and what that really is we're more of a variety show, and every 4 years we've been doing this live stream about how to do political coverage and all that jazz. Now I'm finding it hard for me to be extremely refrained or muted based on my typical character and who I am. So I want to put this disclaimer out there for those who will be our loyal viewers for the duration of this broadcast. I might lose it. And sometimes when I do, that just happens. And I don't do it intentionally, just when there's something that I'm fired up about. And Neighborhood Nick over here is also fired up about this one topic. So because of that, I try to stand back a bit because he just wants to geek out. He loves this stuff. He eats it, he drinks it, he breathes it.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, okay. So to that end,
I have a master's in political science.
Phenomenal stuff, folks. So you've got a resource right now, access unfettered. In your comments, feel free to ask questions, drop a little comment, drop a little subscribe, or whatever the heck you want to do.
Or your predictions as well.
And your predictions, we could go.
We can talk
well.
about that.
You could talk about predictions, but all of those political questions, please talk to Nick about it. Now, if you want to talk about a great Moscow Mule, you want to talk about my vodka, you want to talk about electronics, you want to talk about airplanes, space.
I thought you only had Tito's vodka. I thought that was the only one you liked.
Well, the Tim Collins is nice too. That's a nice
okay.
thing. Tim Collins is nice. To all those things, ask me. I'm all about that. But bear in mind, if you're used to our regular format to where, I hijack the show, in this particular aspect, I will not, out of respect for the person with the master's degree in political science, to that end, I've got to move this TV because I love the fact that I can look at the camera, but I'd much rather be looking at the whole screen and not just the camera.
I think it's time, actually. We're going to take a commercial break, actually.
I don't even know how to do that because apparently camera 5 is missing on this computer. That's frustrating as well.
That's fine. Go to GFX1, though.
I can't. Well, I want to finish one. Now, do we have any sponsors for this? We already talked about RAM, and we were asking for free pickups because the show itself was sponsored. And then
this is true.
I had a comment from Nathaniel who was mobile. He said that I was sounding like my audio was actually talking over you. So I do believe we've corrected that now. So Kevin, if you're still listening, let us know in the comments if that's...
Or Nathaniel, if you're following along. Morning, V2.
If that's better, because heaven knows I don't want to be screaming over, and hearing him breathing and all that stuff. But yeah, this is our live shot again of the studio. All of the volunteers that help make this happen, a ton of them. It's great. It's great. It's a labor of love to bring this together for election. Did we spell election correctly in that upper bug? Yes, we did. You never know. Sometimes that stuff just falls past the QC.
It could.
You have something for us to watch, and I need to have audio on this, right? What did you?
Yes, we're going
this for us.
We're going to go to a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen.
Nathaniel said we're good. I think that's.
He said you're good. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, but we do have just this
How quick is this commercial break?
We're going to have a little stinger, and then we're going to throw a graphic up that says we'll be back in a moment. I'm sorry?
Are you doing this in QLab or what's up?
No, I'm in OBS. You have QLab. I don't have any of that stuff.
Man, our desk doesn't look too bad. A lot of remotes right here. I'm just kind of looking at now I can actually see on the preview here. That's phenomenal. Sorry.
I'm going to play the video.
I digress. What are we doing?
I'm hitting the video.
Do I have audio, though?
You will.
Is it on?
It's on mine.
I apologize. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's on the other laptop.
It's so far away though, man. Like it's behind that
Is
laptop.
it out of the way?
It's
Okay.
just super. And you put this on bus 2, didn't you? So like bus 2 is the
That should be a stream.
the broadcast. What's bus 1?
Our confidence monitor.
Okay, well then what's LR?
There's no LR.
So this whole time I've been just doing. Okay, well then what we need to do is let's change our LR. Actually, we'll do this real quick. Hang on, it's okay because we are an educational show. This is all about education. Where is my super source? For the love of Pete. Okay, so let's go in here and show the audience what we're trying to do to fix this thing. We want to go to our laptop right. We want to go sends, and we need to make this thing post fader on all the buses. There you go, pal. Now what's left doing? Is that me?
That's you.
Oh, that's me.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. We're gonna make this post fader as well, because heaven knows we're trying to run a clean ship.
It's true. It's true.
All right. So now, do we have it? Let me see.
That's yours.
I don't hear it.
Because there is no LR.
Hang
Bus 1.
There it is. Yeah. No, but that's important because this track, this sweet track right here. Hear that? That sweet track right there lets people know that this is news. Hear that? That's news.
I see.
That is news right there. Okay, enough of that. So, but now it's out, right? I don't hear it.
Are you ready for mine?
No, I just want to confirm that we need to make sure that the bus is clear. I think so. That's good. So laptop left is, oh, I see. So if I turn that back up, now we have it in the studio. Yes, we have it in the studio now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why did you hook it up that way, Neighborhood Nick?
Because I wasn't thinking clearly.
Clearly.
No.
I mean, heavens to Betsy, man. I mean, we're trying to...
I had politics on my mind.
It's a tight ship. Okay, so then, yeah, I understand where we're at now currently. Let's go ahead and start that bumper. It's on GFX1.
Yes, sir.
Please, by all means. What are we doing? Oh,
The House
whatever.
of Representatives, the body of the legislature that changes not only every 2 years, but is going to represent the main population of the American people. Made up of 435 individuals, it represents every part of the country. Of course, this is determined by the population of each individual state, and redistricting that happens every 10 years due to the census. This really makes the House a battle of popularity. As population shifts and as redistricting happens, the House of Representatives never truly looks the same every decade. Now, what's interesting about the House of Representatives, only the House Speaker and the Minority Leader, at least in the modern age, hold negotiations, while the representatives on the floor, they have to work to fundraise for the party. And of course, this can be very depressing. Why are we voting for these people if they're only fundraising? But this gives us an idea of the representation of America, whether it's moving to the left or moving to the right. It's the closest we can get to having a thermometer of the political spectrum across the entire nation, because it truly does represent more of the population than the Senate or even the presidency. An interesting aspect of the House of Representatives is that it controls the purse for the United States. Namely, it controls how much the government can spend in any given year, as all fiscal policy starts in the House of Representatives for the United States and then gets confirmed in the Senate, giving the president his annual budget. For those outside of America, you may be wondering, what is this House of Representatives? Think of this as a House of Commons, our parliament. It's made up of representatives of the people, for the people, and by the people. A fun fact about the House of Representatives as well is that from 1955 until 1995, the Democrats held the House of Representatives majority for 40 years, even though the president would change from Republican to Democrat to Republican to Democrat. Who is going to be controlling the fiscal policy and the purse strings of the United States of America for at least the next 2 years?
Well, that was exciting, Neighborhood Nick. I appreciate that insightful video. Were we supposed to go to commercial?
I thought we were.
Did we go to commercial?
We didn't, but we can.
Okay, well, you've got some exciting graphics to talk about. Now, we got Neighborhood Nick on the green screen now. He's going to be talking about, oh, wait.
So, as you can see here, we have a green screen. And it's a very nice green screen.
How come that's not working?
Well, we didn't quite figure out that part. But this was going to be our map, ladies and gentlemen. And we were going to have a very interactive moment here, pointing out like Colorado and Texas and Florida, and really highlight just how diverse the thought of this country truly is.
Ugh, low budget.
We were also going to talk a lot because, you know, that was the House of Representatives educational video that was sponsored by someone that needs to pay us money still.
You know what's funny? In all honesty, oh wow, that's
Hello, this is a lot going on right there.
Oh,
Jiminy
man.
Christmas.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just like knock that off. I think what we'll have to do is come back to this, and this is good though. I mean, in reality, we could meme this later in life.
We definitely could.
It's a good key. It's good chroma.
It's a wonderful green screen.
yeah,
It's beautifully made.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
That's
It
phenomenal
truly is
stuff.
fantastic.
And now that my monitor is a little more where I like it, I'm gonna go ahead and wait. Did we make a loan payment? No, we didn't. When did we do that? Huh.
I don't know.
These emails. I gotta take a picture of that though. That's great. That's phenomenal. Can you see on your confidence monitor though what we got going on in terms of like Indiana and all this?
I can see the Indiana presidential race. It looks like
goodness for that.
they've called out for Donald Trump. I'm also looking at our Associated Press map in the back.
Oh, that's
They have Donald Trump ahead 198 to Kamala Harris's 112. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that we still have not had Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii.
I think your camera's right there, dude.
I'm looking at the map back there.
Yes, there is a
Yes,
map over there.
There's a map back there. That's what I was
Right.
looking at.
We have to look at our people. Cameras. People.
I'm terrible at looking at the
Did
camera.
you level
It's-
these? They feel crooked.
Some of them are crooked. I'm terrible at looking at the camera. But
Try, I got my
we
coffee.
have a lot going on today. It looks like we have Ohio that's been called for Trump. That was expected to be Trump. Ohio is one of those states that has been trending very far towards the Republican Party in recent elections, actually. So that is expected on that front. Popular
that
vote
green
right
screen.
now. Trump is leading the popular vote. In Arizona, looks like Arizona's, that's a tight race. That is a tight race in Arizona. Expect that one. Honestly, Maricopa County's already told us it's going to take a few days to count votes, so Arizona probably won't get called tonight, just so everyone is aware. Georgia,
Now wait. Whoa. Didn't that happen last time? Didn't we have an Arizona issue?
that did happen last time in Arizona, in Maricopa County. There was the entire Dominion voting machine scandal, which they're still trying to figure out. Maricopa County's already said it's going to be slow going on the counting. They're not expecting to have Maricopa County done by tonight. So don't expect that one to be coming out at you. Pennsylvania, another very important state. Trump currently leading in Pennsylvania by about 100,000. Too close to call still 50% in Wisconsin. Minnesota. Those states up there, those cold ones. Currently leading Wisconsin. Montana, Tim Sheehy, major lead right there, 60 to 40%. Only 2% of the state has voted, or at least has been counted, so we still got some work going on there. This is going to be an interesting one. Sherrod Brown has been the senator for Ohio for pretty much 3 decades at this point. So that one, if Bernie Moreno can flip Ohio, that is a major victory for the Republican Party and will increase their lead. Another very competitive race in Michigan. West Virginia, we already knew that was going to be with the senators going with the Republican Party there. Jim Justice, the former governor of West Virginia. That is the former seat of...
I
my
used
goodness.
to be able to take my eyebrows and move
I
this
can't
one
remember
up.
his name.
I used to be able to do like the whole the rock thing, you know.
You can work on that. Kerry Lake and Ruben Gallego.
I
That
digress.
one is going to be another close race. Right now, Kerry Lake is down. Looks like Ruben Gallego's pulling ahead. Rick Scott, he won Florida, to be expected. Florida has also been
Rick
a very...
Scott. Rick Scott. It sounds like a rapper, doesn't it? Like a
He could pass as one, I guess.
yeah, you know, like Rick Scott.
Texas and Florida both been trending to the right. Actually, Texas has been moving a little bit more moderate in recent years. That's a little interesting that he's winning heavily, though. Vermont expected Bernie Sanders. That one is not too much of a surprise right now. And we're just District 2. Oh, House of Representatives, District 2, Eli Crane, expected to win that seat. Expected. That one's going to be competitive, though. Good competition going on. We got Christian Engel and one Siskamani. That one's going to be, again, Arizona's going to be a very competitive state tonight. We're not 100% sure where that's going to ultimately go. Schweikert's been running multiple campaigns, so that's going to be very fascinating to see. Don't know much about Michigan, but it looks like Tom Barrett is currently leading in that race. The interesting thing about Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, these are typically known as the blue wall states. They typically go to the Democratic Party. But since Donald Trump, there's been this interesting transition going on with the Republican Party. He's made inroads against the blue wall. So that might actually lead to something in the future where Republicans start changing the Rust Belt again. Heavy unionized areas, lots of representation from a lot of different kinds of people from all over the world in those Rust Belt states.
Nick, hold on, breaking question. Rust Belt?
Yes.
What's the Rust Belt?
The Rust Belt is Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Think of your automotive cities, your fracking states. Those are where major factories, Detroit, all that stuff, were all in these three particular states, heavy on industry. And so they got called the Rust Belt because a lot of those industries kind of left. And it's been a very difficult economic times for a lot of those major cities that were very dependent upon those particular industries, especially motorized vehicles.
Rust Belt, formerly the Steel Belt. Huh.
Yes.
Wow. This show is not only educational and enlightening, it's also entertaining, but interesting. So we got Cincinnati, Chicago, Cleveland, Kentucky.
A lot of these Midwest areas, northern Midwest. But yeah, the Rust Belt, typically, because of those unions.
Why is it called the Rust Belt? I don't get it.
Because it used to be the Steel Belt.
Well,
When steel gets old and weathers, it turns into rust. Because the steel industry has died down in the United States of America, because the automotive industry died down in the United States of America, those factories turned into rust. And they've degraded. Hence why you get the Rust Belt.
Can you buy those factories? What's the
You
deal?
probably could, but I don't know if anyone will.
I was thinking like abandoned.
I mean, Detroit, Michigan has a lot of factories.
a
lot of factories.
Like abandoned factories or something. That'd be fun.
Abandoned factories, yes.
Huh.
Yes, you could see that.
This is just an information overload. I hope you folks really appreciate what Neighborhood Nick is bringing to tonight's political coverage of the 2024 election. This is crazy. This is just phenomenal stuff. Years of experience. We're talking 30 years in the industry of political science, and he's bringing to the table something for y'all to be able to dumb it down for the rest of us so that we can understand a little bit more about the importance of what's actually happening tonight and the gravity of what's happening tonight.
Sure.
Would you agree with that, Neighborhood Nick?
I don't like to toot my own horn, but
Toot away.
I do have a master's in political science.
Do you know how someone knows? You know how someone they have a political science degree? Do you know how? You know how? Because they're gonna. Oh, it's over here. Because they're gonna tell you. I screwed that delivery up so bad. Oh my gosh. We need to have a take two. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a majorly important moment right now.
Wait, can I finish my joke? Wait, this is like I think I got my blocking down.
Okay.
I'm gonna look over here. There's no camera over here. There's a camera right here.
Yes.
All right. You know how someone's a political science major?
How?
Because they're gonna tell you. All right, that was good. That was great. Okay, what's the breaking news?
According to 270 to win right now, they have called the state of Georgia. They are giving Georgia to Donald Trump. That is massive. According to 270 to win. 270 to win right now has Trump up 242 electoral votes to Harris's 108. Could be massive. That's a huge part of the Sun Belt right there. This election could be pretty close by the end of the night. Associated Press has not called Georgia as of yet, nor have they called North Carolina.
How come you're still on the green screen with there, brother? Wait, I don't understand. Oh, wow. Look at that.
So we have the Associated Press right now. they've called Colorado, Illinois, they have New York, a lot of the New England states expected. Michigan, Virginia still not called. They have 112 for Harris to 198 for Trump.
Now, Georgia was a big back in the day, right? I remember Georgia was a big deal last time. Did you just hit your mic?
I did.
Yeah, you did. So this is, I
You know, the devil went down to Georgia.
know, and he was looking for
For a deal to steal.
I mean, he was on his way behind.
he was in a bind.
He's willing to make a deal.
Did he rosin up the bow? Who rosined up the bow, though?
Johnny rising up his bow.
Johnny rosined up the bow. I remember that.
He played that fiddle hard.
And didn't he get a soul or something like that?
He was going to trade a soul
Trade a soul.
for
I
a
remember.
fiddle of gold.
Oh, man. Johnny Cash, right?
No, I don't think
Steven Spielberg?
it was Steven Spielberg either.
Mark Wahlberg.
No, definitely not. Not Marky Mark. I'm sorry. I thought it was Kenny Rogers.
Creedence Clearwater.
Maybe they did a version.
No! Oh, it had to be that guy, not Stapleton. The dude, Charlie Daniels. That's who it was.
Yes,
Yeah,
Charlie Daniels.
Daniels.
Excellent.
I knew I'd get it. Don't worry.
Thanks for all that, folks. We didn't even were there comments even saying? Good Lord. Okay, so hypothesize. Where are we at? This is a big deal, Georgia. You say?
Yes. 1 second.
Is there any chance? Just thinking about this. It's 7:37 p.m.
On the West Coast. Right now.
If you want to take my map real quick.
I'll take it.
Take the map. Take it. Because this is interesting, folks. I have to be careful what I say now. This is the 270 to win. This is calculating the state of Georgia. 88% estimated reporting as of right now. What we can see here is that Trump currently leading by about 150,000 or so. Getting up there. They've called it. They're confident. 270 to win is confident that this is going to be a Trump state. Look at this. As expected, Atlanta, Georgia, we can see that Kamala Harris had a very strong lead around Atlanta. She needed the turnout in Atlanta and Augusta in particular to be way higher. She relied upon the Atlanta suburbs if she wanted to have a chance of taking the state because all these other counties, all the rural counties, going heavily to Donald Trump. So Brian Kemp leading Georgia. Everyone loves him. It's a heavy Republican state. I'm expecting this to actually probably be 100% true. I think Georgia is probably going to be into the Trump presidency, leading closer to that Trump presidency, I should say. I also was looking at North Carolina. This is interesting. So 270 to win. Again, they're confident here. 270 to win is confident that Donald Trump, according to exit polls, has won North Carolina. Associated Press not willing to make that call as of yet. But what you can see here, again, this is the urban-rural divide. This is what everyone has been arguing about, is who can get the turnout into this election. Is it going to be Donald Trump getting the rural voters out, getting those people who usually sit out elections, getting those low turnout people out to vote? Or is it going to be Kamala Harris kind of inspiring that Democratic base after Joe Biden just kind of plummeted? That was the big question. This is an interesting aspect. You're not seeing anymore either side really reaching out across the aisle. Elections since about 2012 have all been about the turnout of your base. And right now we can see in North Carolina, Donald Trump has a pretty, it's not a commanding lead, but a very decent lead right now, about 140,000, 135,000. Taking that lead in North Carolina. If he can hold on to North Carolina, that's massive. I haven't looked at the governor's race. I expect the governor race to actually go 100% to the Democrat after the failings of the Republican candidate to really kind of dismiss a lot of the pornographic accusations. But Donald Trump seems to be holding strong to North Carolina, holding strong to Georgia. And if we look here, this is 270. They're saying 242 to Trump right now. They've called Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Texas, Utah. They've called a lot of the states. I'm looking at the Associated Press map on our back wall as well. It's looking kind of interesting, looking kind of crazy. Not how I would have expected it to go as of right now, but it's going. It's going into a very...
It's that screen right there, folks.
Way back there that
way
you
back
can't
there.
see behind the
Way
light.
back there.
Yeah, it's back there.
Kind of like a little spot map. If I come back to just our little
Hang
Associated
on.
Press,
So you didn't expect this to go this way?
not in the way that I'm
What's
expecting.
Dogecoin doing?
As of right now, if I'm looking at this map here, this is your common Google map, I guess, or Microsoft Bing. Minnesota, again, very early. Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan. These are going to be heavy hitters. And right now, Wisconsin, leading with Donald Trump, that could be game changer. That one is the one I believed, most honestly, that Trump had the best chance of winning was Wisconsin, not Pennsylvania, not Michigan, but Wisconsin. Right now, he's leading there, leading in Pennsylvania. We're going to keep our eyes on these three battleground states. Those are going to be critical. Arizona as well. That's going to be a very tight election. But quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, the most important states that we're seeing right now are going to be Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those are the states that are going to determine this election.
I am just. The coffee's not helping.
Are you not staying awake now?
I don't. I mean, but what I'm hearing is that we're gonna be out of here in. We're gonna wrap this puppy up and go home. And I feel so bad for you, Neighborhood Nick, because we really. I gotta say, compared to what we did last election, in 2020.
2020.
We're really, we couldn't have done it without all the volunteers, but I mean, like we did coverage. You were in Denver.
I was in Denver.
I was in the bunker, and we did this whole show. And I gotta say, I feel like the production value, just as it is has that nice cable cast local TV view.
It's very good right now.
This is great. But at the same time, I don't really see us being around until like 2 a.m. like we were last time.
We don't know.
Because this is moving quick. Am I wrong?
For the most part, it seems to be kind of moving a bit quicker. It's a lot quicker than it was in 2020. But the night is still young. There's still 50% of the vote in a lot of those places to go. I want to shift our conversation just for right now to the House of Representatives. This is the current House of Representatives map according to 270. Some very fascinating aspects that just want to point out real quick to everybody is that on this map, you can see some states, massive. Other states, not so massive, where you have lots of different lines. That's based on your population. The House of Representatives is determined by your population. It's not determined by the size of the state. It's determined by the size of your population. That's why Texas has a lot of crazy little things going on over there. While Wyoming, you get one. You get one, and you're going to be happy with that one. But what's very fascinating is that I'm not expecting a blowout win for the Republican Party in the House of Representatives. I'm expecting a very close House. We've had very slim majorities, but what we saw because of 2020, with redistricting, with the census, with people moving all over the country because of COVID and other laws and regulations and taxation, what we can see is that the polarization of the nation starts coming together and people finding their little home bases. Certain states end up much more heavy Democrats. Some states end up heavier on the Republican Party. We're not getting a lot more swing districts anymore. And so I would expect that the House of Representatives, you might see one party leading with 1 to maybe 12 representatives, if not dead even in some cases. Because, some people call out sick. Everyone has their own lives, of course. So it's going to be very fascinating to see how the House of Representatives is going to play out. Right now, the Republicans are leading 165 to 116. We don't have anything for California, Washington, and Oregon yet. We still have the majority of New York still has to come in. But if we look, especially
California
at
has
Texas,
historically voted blue.
California typically will vote blue. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
So if you look at Texas down here, Texas is definitely going heavy to the Republicans right now, which is to be expected, except around your urban areas of Dallas and Austin, Corpus Christi. You're going to be seeing a lot of changes on that front.
And we have a comment from our viewer that Crispin Smith needs a little more coffee. I hear you loud and clear, Kevin, but bear in mind at the very beginning of the show, I've got to be a little more reserved on such a monumentous night such as this, simply because this is Neighborhood Nick's moment to shine. And clearly, he is doing a bang-up job.
And
So
I do have some inside sources as well. I do know of people working on different elections, different campaigns, and going all over the place. Wisconsin still currently being counted. People are still working on Wisconsin to truly make that a fair and free election. So we're still counting those ballots. Don't expect Wisconsin to be called just yet. We just lost some
We
power.
just lost a light in the studio. My goodness, look at that. Well,
It actually doesn't look too bad, though.
it looks terrible.
Well,
I don't know why the lights keep going out like that. Did we pay the power bill?
I didn't.
I thought we did.
I'm not in charge of the power.
Doggone it.
I just ran the cable. But Wisconsin is still currently
work on
counting. They are still working to figure out what is going on over there. So we're not going to see that one as of yet. Coming back here, we're seeing a little bit more of our results. Wisconsin, speaking of which, the Senate race, very, very close. That one is going to be a nail-biter towards the end. Right now, we have the Senate. It looks like the Republicans have pretty much taken what we've expected. North Dakota, Wyoming, West Virginia, Indiana, the second one of Nebraska, Tennessee, Mississippi, Texas, and Florida. I'm expecting the Republicans are probably going to be about 51-52, and the Democrats are going to be either 49-48, depending on Ohio and Montana. Those are the two that I expect to honestly be the ones to flip most likely is Ohio and Montana. We could see something happen in Wisconsin and Nevada. I don't want to throw Nevada out just yet. Sam Brown, pretty good candidate over there in Nevada. And Nevada, again, trending towards the Republican side. Other states moving more to the Democrats, but Nevada has been trending more so towards the Republican side. So we're going to definitely be keeping our eyes on that.
This is all exciting stuff.
We try to. We believe it needs to be exciting. Looking at our comments here on...
Apparently I had some audio issues with my microphone,
Yeah, we're looking at
but I think I fixed it, so we're in great shape now.
Dana commenting, sad the UK went liberal. Yes, the Labour Party in the UK, shifting countries right now. Labour won in a landslide over the Tories, over the Conservatives. Nigel Farage's Reform Party and the Conservatives really split the vote over in the United Kingdom, giving Sir Keir Starmer the prime ministership pretty easily. Not much competition going on in the UK. SNP collapsed, giving Labour a massive victory in Scotland. They've always had Wales. But what's very fascinating, Reform did take a lot of seats. They did get 13 seats in the parliament. Not a huge amount. But for them as a very new party, that's going to be big for Nigel Farage and really kind of pulling the Tories, the Conservatives, further to the right. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the UK when they have their next parliamentary election in about 5 years. So we still got a long ways to go for that, but it's going to be interesting seeing how Sir Keir Starmer handles this basically landslide victory rivaling that of Tony Blair in the 90s. So, coming back across the pond to the United States of America, Pennsylvania House competition, governor from Missouri.
Wow.
That one was expected. So we're not too surprised on that front.
Looks like we've got a pretty good little piece of little race action going on here. I'm not seeing...
Josh Stein was expected to win. Mark Robinson just could not get over the Pornhub controversy. Yeah, so there was a controversy in North Carolina with the governorship where the Republican candidate apparently commented quite a while ago on a pornographic website, I believe it was Pornhub, and never lived it down. And they found out about it, and he lost his character appeal. So North Carolina going to have its first ever Jewish governor instead of its first ever black governor.
So searching that comment, Pornhub doesn't actually bring up the desired results. It's
No, you might need to be a little bit more specific.
that is probably not what we were looking for. We won't put that on the screen.
No, don't put that on the screen. You probably want Mark Robinson. You want to search Mark Robinson?
Mark Robinson, porn,
No, just Mark Robinson.
porn.
Oh, okay.
He said he's a black Nazi?
He did not say he was a black Nazi.
Huh. Okay, so he's suing a porn site.
Yes.
I see. Here it is. This is Dateline. This is Dateline October 15th. This was rather recent. Apparently,
It was an October surprise.
yeah, Mark Robson, CNN said recently he's filed a lawsuit in Wake County, and he is. They don't name the actual. Oh, well, that's fun. It is a website called Nude Africa.
Interesting.
So he published, despite knowing or recklessly disregarding that Lieutenant Governor Robinson's data, including his name, date of birth, passwords, and email address, were associated with a Nude Africa account, and was actually part of a data breach. So in reality, this gentleman thought that he had the assumption of anonymity or privacy. Nude Africa. What a niche website. Nude Africa. Let's look at that.
Let's not.
Oh, it is. That's fascinating. Huh. It's a website.
I'm not surprised.
Very niche. Nudeafrica.com. Okay. Well, that was Senator Mark Robinson, and he is no longer, correct? He's out? North Carolina?
He's going to lose North Carolina's governorship. Yes.
So who's doing that? Oh, I missed it. Who's coming in now?
It's going to be, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head,
All
but it
over
will be
nudeafrica.com?
Yes.
Why?
Because apparently North Carolina still takes that very seriously. So
Oh my goodness.
North Carolina will have its first Jewish governor. I believe his name is Josh Stein, I believe. I think it's Josh Stein. He's going to win North Carolina, which makes it very interesting. You have a split ticket at that point. You have people voting for the Republican nominee for president and the Democratic nominee for governor. Very fascinating.
Well, apparently there's a Jewish porn site called Tavia. So he'll probably have a problem too.
Well, it won't be.
Free vids, Jewish
Right now.
porn vids. I mean, for the love of goodness. I mean,
Shifting up to Pennsylvania, it's not on the screen right now, but I'm looking at the
North Carolina.
currently state results. It looks like Donald Trump currently has a 110,000 vote lead. 65% is reported as of right now for Pennsylvania. And the thing about Pennsylvania that's very important to understand, again, talking about turnout, it's all about getting your base out to vote. Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, those are your Democratic strongholds. And if Kamala Harris did not get the turnout she needed in those three areas, she is not going to win Pennsylvania. Donald Trump will win all the other counties pretty much. It's going to be all about the turnout. And some of the interesting things that people kind of forget about is that,
Did you know that North Carolina has actually blocked porn?
yes, it is a state law.
Yeah. It requires you to submit an ID of face identity, and they're blocking via VPNs.
Yes, yes.
North Carolina.
North Carolina has some strict rules around
That's
that.
fascinating.
Utah as well has credentials needed.
Really?
Yes.
Good for them, I guess.
Different states have different requirements.
I guess, yeah. I mean, what?
As I said earlier, your local governments are going to play things very differently from your federal government.
Yeah, that's good for them, I guess. I mean, I don't really have an argument against either 4 or 4. I think the OnlyFans, like we mentioned on an episode, that it's important to support your local actresses and actors. And if you feel like you need to vote with your dollars, vote with your dollars. And that's the best way. That free stuff, don't go for it, because that's helping no one. But this is a capitalistic society, so vote with your dollars. If you like an actress or an actor, like what they do, you want to support their work, boom, pay them, give them some money. That's all.
That's all.
I'm sorry. I was just that's fascinating. So how many states in U.S. block porn? Is that what we're looking for?
I guess that's what you're looking for.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Arkansas, Indiana. Wait, hang on. I have to do my thing. Where is it? Yep. Ladies and gentlemen. Because I did what you did, you silly goose. Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, North Carolina, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and North Carolina. Oh, I already said that. Yeah. Isn't that fascinating? That's a lot. That's good. Good for them. Well, that's nice to see that we're moving in a more moral direction. Because I've always said, support the people.
As you should.
Now, however, isn't there? I think there is in Utah, they have The Secret Lives of Mormon Women. That's the new video coming out on Netflix?
The what?
Yeah. So I'm curious if the swinger and the misogynistic, multiple wives, living style is more prevalent in these states now that they have outlawed pornography. Wouldn't that be fascinating to know? Because I mean, they did a documentary. Did you not see this?
I did not see that aspect of it.
Yep. Wives, multiple wives, swapping around. It's fascinating stuff. So, but Utah being one of those states, I'm wondering if Texas, we should do some more research on this. This is fascinating. It's all groundbreaking stuff here tonight on the 2024 election coverage with president's race. It's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You have more to share? This is not Kevin, is this fascinating or what? No? Okay, fine.
Different requirements for people.
I have a feeling that half of our audience watching is like, where is he going with this?
I was kind of wondering where you're going with
things. And half of our
also.
audience is like, go for it, please. I think I can draw a correlation between, states that have infidelity in their marriages. Yeah.
You probably could. There's probably research out there.
Oh, yeah.
For
So,
that in particular.
pros and cons. I'm still trying to figure out where our audio issue is that someone did we fix it?
I believe so.
Okay, cool.
I believe
Kevin,
so.
is the audio better now? Has my microphone been repaired or fixed or whatever?
I'm not 100%
Does
sure.
it sound like I'm talking through neighborhood Nick's mic? Okay, back to you.
If we can, I would like to take my map real quick.
Boy, the map was GFX1, yeah?
Excellent. Wonderful. So we are looking here, everybody. I'm going to try to be more conscientious about my word choice now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Kevin said kinda. So.
Kind of?
Kinda. You're still having audio problems apparently.
Doggone it.
Not sure why.
I don't either.
So this is the map. This is our U.S. Senate map currently happening. 270 to win is saying that the Republicans have 50, which I would agree with according to what they're saying. West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, Texas, the 2nd Senator of Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota. I believe we're going to be definitely seeing Montana. I'm just going to go ahead, if I can. We're going to click over here to Montana. 270 win, not willing to say anything just yet. They're not getting apparently any data, which is interesting to see. But I think we're going to definitely be seeing that state tilted over into 51. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, there's a possibility you're going to be seeing some flipping going on. But Ohio, I do want to highlight Ohio. This was a very, very important Senate election for the Democrats. Sherrod Brown has been around a long time. And so for him to lose to Bernie Moreno, Trump pulling him out of here, it looks pretty pretty telling. We're looking at about 260,000 votes right now. Sherrod Brown, again, almost 3 decades. Almost 3 decades, I believe. He has been in the Senate from Ohio for a very long time. That is going to cost the Democrats any chance of majority. They are going to lose the Senate, guaranteed. The question becomes, will Pennsylvania, will Wisconsin, will Michigan flip with Ohio? Montana, I fully expect Montana to flip. But Ohio being called by 270, that Bernie Moreno win over there, we're going to keep an eye on this. But 85% reporting in, it looks like he has a solid lead right now. I think that's a very major victory for the Republicans over here in Ohio, giving them that 50th senator. Again, we're looking at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are going to be very close elections. Going over to Pennsylvania right now, this is our Senate race right now. David McCormick currently leading. He is currently leading against Bob Casey. This is another big-time senator. Bob Casey is not someone that just is a run-of-the-mill Democrat. He has even been campaigning, believe it or not, he's been campaigning, saying that he agrees with Donald Trump on many different issues, trying to make sure he holds that Senate seat. So obviously a lot of pressure right now for the Democrats to hold on to the Senate. That's going to be big. Coming over into Michigan. Do we have any data from 270 on Michigan? We do. Slotkin is currently leading by a bit over 100,000. Again, only 32% estimated reporting as of right now. That one could get tighter, but Slotkin, Michigan, probably going to hold on to that seat. It's an open Senate seat right now, I believe, but it's going to be going from Democrat to Democrat, it looks like. Important seat right there. I would expect Slotkin to kind of win that one. And then Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin running to hold on to her seat right now against Eric Hovda. Currently less than 1,000 votes ahead, according to 270. That could change very rapidly throughout the night. These are very important Senate seats. The Senate has been kind of deadlocked this entire time, so it will be very, very close. We will keep an eye out, however. Crispin Smith, this is going to be a very serious election coming down the wire here.
I am just riveted.
I can tell.
There are so many things going on behind the scenes that I wish I could share with our audience, from what's happening live in the studio to determining how on earth our green screen that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, we paid a vendor to do this. We wanted that one element of this show to be absolutely bulletproof, and it failed. It failed, and I'm upset, and I feel like our viewers at home should be upset as well. However, I take comfort in knowing that we will have a race probably over in the next 2 hours where we won't even get the opportunity to use green screen technology, high-end stuff, to point on maps and do things. I mean, goodness gracious, the best we have in this entire show is this right here. That. We got a spinning...
It's a spinning star.
It's a spinning star with an American flag waving in the background in a perfect loop. And that, my friends, is it.
It looks good, though.
You know what?
Looks good. Plus, we have this amazing little logo behind us.
Yeah, thank goodness for something. A little bit of production value on this thing. I mean, heaven, if it wasn't for you just carrying the weight of this entire show, I'd say we should just go to break long term. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, let's give it up for Nick and the volunteers here in the studio. all these people, heaven knows.
Our volunteers have killed it.
And
They've
our
murdered it.
phenomenal green screen over there that we can't figure out how to chroma out because, we paid all this money for that stuff to happen.
Looks
I
great, though.
feel like it's got to be an input issue. It's got to be. 214 and 179. Oh, so Kamala.
California,
California's
Washington.
Yeah.
The West Coast has closed their polls now.
Washington voted for Kamala. We do a lot of work on the West Coast.
We do a lot of work on the West Coast. This is true.
Man, can you imagine? No matter who wins, there's going to be a lot of people upset.
50% of the country believes
Yeah.
that the end of democracy is sure to happen if Kamala wins.
Yeah.
And the other 50% believe it's the end of democracy if Donald Trump wins. Either way, 50% of the country will be upset.
Boy, howdy. Now, I'm curious of that voting public, though. That 50% of those people will actually be, we're talking about going back to the markets. Dogecoin is still up today.
Yes.
23%. It's just soaring right now with the current setup here. Now I want to hypothesize a few things. Looks like New Mexico is going to go blue. Arizona is going to go red. Nevada, we don't know. But I mean, did you already? Well, I tuned out. Did you already add up all this junk? Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Did you already add all that stuff up?
So we're still waiting for the results on our Rust Belt.
But if you Rust Belt, I love that. I feel like Rust Belt. That sounds like it could be a good band, or it could even be like a nice drink. The Rust Belt. No?
Not sure a belt is a good beverage, but maybe.
Could be
perhaps.
the Rust Belt, the Belt of Rust.
So if
Could
we
be a weapon. The
yes.
Belt of Rust.
Actually, yes.
Wait, sorry, I don't want to get sidetracked because this is very important. Adding up those 5 states puts us where? Did we win?
We have no clear winner yet.
Did the red win?
We don't have a clear winner yet.
But add them up. What happens? Did you do that already?
Well, if
I missed it.
If Trump wins just one of the Rust Belt states, he wins.
Oh, well, but hang on. But what I'm saying is they're calling Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan.
They're not calling those yet.
No. Well, I mean, I know they're not. No one's calling nothing. What I'm saying is that they're magenta, and magenta.
That means he's currently leading right now.
Right.
So if he wins any of those Rust Belt states, Trump will win.
Rust Belt.
Right now, no one's able to call those. Right now, 270 says that Donald Trump is sitting pretty. They're saying in their forecasting, he's sitting pretty at 262 electoral votes right now.
Are those Congos behind you in that shot?
Yes. Yes, they are.
It's phenomenal. I wonder how come we didn't get the rest of the drape done right. Congos.
Our volunteers didn't take care of that problem.
At least my shot's more. Like I don't know what that is behind me, but my shot's a little more.
It's clean.
Yeah, it is. I like that. I like the draping behind me because what's nice about that is it's full. Now, talk about drape really quick. Drape is fullness. So like 50% full has more bunch, 0% full is more flat. So that'd be like a 50% full thing. That's not bad. I like that. Did you do that, Neighborhood Nick? You did the drape, didn't you?
I did. I did do the drape. And my lighting changed, though, because that one is supposed to be red.
What, that one behind me? It's nice. I like it.
The one directly behind you is supposed to be red.
This is great. Neighborhood Nick, you did a great
Clean.
job.
It's
You did
a clean.
a great job.
It's a clean look.
You did a phenomenal job. I like that in the back. Yeah, over there, what you got going on the side there, that's pretty. This right here. This right here.
Yeah, it's a mess. That is a mess. But we're hanging in there.
Oh, you can see I didn't tuck in my shirt. That's why I don't care.
You've been sitting this whole time.
We're fooling nobody. We're fooling absolutely no one. This is professional broadcasting.
I think
at its
now,
finest.
quite honestly,
Broadcasting
though,
excellence. Yes, sir.
I think now is a very good time because I actually
Need to use the restroom?
I do.
I call. You know how I can tell? You mind if I touch you? You know I can tell your neck. Your neck starts to like largen up. It's interesting. I can tell when Neighborhood Nick needs to use the restroom, either on both faculties of the front or the back, when his neck starts to kind of enlarge a bit. And it's very subtle, but if you watch our recordings, if you watch our exchanges between the both of us, you'll notice that his neck starts to kind of tense up. And that means it's a restroom time for Neighborhood Nick. That's how I know.
Very interesting.
I've spent a lot of time with you. That doggone lower third, I do not understand why we can never get that right. I just need to remove it. It really is upsetting. There it is.
Now, that's the beautiful one.
Man, heavens to Betsy. I am Crispin Smith,
I am the neighborhood Nick.
and we are broadcasting live 2024 election coverage of the 2024 election. That was redundant. That didn't work out quite well. But we do have audio. Hang on. Here's our news track. Where's the... Are you flipping kidding me? There it is. No?
Your mute is on.
No, it's not. It's there. Yes, this is the 2024 election coverage of tonight's presidential race to 270. Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. Indeed.
Indeed.
I don't have a crash graphic that says we'll be right back, though.
We don't?
I thought we did. I don't see it, and I'm having a hard time trying to find it in the media pool. That is a challenge we currently have.
Well, here, I have a
Because-
few videos. I have my own commercials.
You
that
have
we can play.
commercials,
Yes.
man. Because on the next break, we'll grab the to go.
So turn off your background music, and we'll just
think I
have the
did.
commercials ready to go.
What are we on? Number 2.
1 sec.
We'll be right back.
After these commercials.
If it plays. Wow.
The United States Senate, representatives of the states, or at least they used to be representatives of the states. Originally, senators were picked by governors and legislatures, however now they are selected by the population of their respective states. Because each state can only have 2 senators, they hold more influence in the federal government than the House of Representatives, and each one has a 6-year term. Now, this is divided into thirds so that every 2 years, 1/3 of the Senate is up for election. Now, they may not get to determine the budget like the House of Representatives, however, the Senate does get to approve ambassadors, judges, cabinet members, and they ratify treaties for the United States. They also can negotiate with the House of Representatives to alter bills and laws. The latest of the issues for the Senate, however, has been the appointment of Supreme Court justices, and, of course, the power that is called the filibuster. Now, the filibuster is a unique tool senators can use where basically they can get up and speak for as long as they want to prevent a vote on certain bills. This, of course, however, can be overturned by a 60 majority vote. This year, it appears that the Senate is leaning towards returning to Republican hands, and a fun fact for this, the Senate has been, at least since 2016, only been ran by the party that is with the president. Could that change this year? Only one way to find out. Time is gonna tell.
Well, we're back. And it seems to me that Neighborhood Nick is still using the restroom. And that's all right because, heaven knows I can float a show just as good as anybody else when it comes down to election results. That is for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing that I found out coming to think about this is that sometimes election results they don't matter. What matters is the heart and coffee and being able to talk to your neighbor one-on-one when they borrow a hammer from you, perhaps, and they use that hammer to build something, you know, maybe a couple feet inside your property line. And you go over to that neighbor and you say, hey, Tim, why did you build that fence 2 feet in on my property line with my hammer? And I asked you specifically, I said, hey man, we could have talked about this, and now your neighbor doesn't return the hammer, and now your neighbor decides to go ahead and give you a cease and desist and a restraining order to make sure you don't go over to his property, to be able to say, hey man, like that fence is kind of imposing on my driveway. Why can't we just tear that thing down? And all of a sudden I get, you know, the cops called on me and I have to spend possibly a night in jail because I took my John Deere 310 and ran over that fence. I said, hey man, that doesn't go there. And by the way, where's my hammer, Tim? I digress. To that end, we have Neighborhood Nick has brought us back and had a good time. It's all right. We were sharing some interesting stories about being neighborly and having a conversation.
You were playing music in the background also. So I muted you.
It was a very important music to play. Yes. Did you not hear that?
That's why I muted you. So you could make that emphasis.
What's funny is you act like, you know, you're not actually on, but you're not. And so you're having like you're scolding me for bad audio tricks when your mic wasn't even on.
No, it wasn't.
Now it is.
We're
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Oh, touche, Neighborhood Nick. So where are we at, buddy? How was the restroom break?
It's quick.
Quick. That's
It's very quick.
That's good.
We got ourselves a cup of coffee as well. So
I need a refill. I absolutely need a refill. But that's good. I'm glad everything's working well. Everything went well.
I think so.
That was a very good break.
Yeah, people were texting me the horrible music was playing again. So apparently the music was stuck in the background a bit too much.
Okay, we're gonna fix that once and for all because
Bus 2 is your music, or the live stream.
blows my mind that you wired it that way. Did I?
Bus 2?
You're right. I guess I didn't. Okay, so it's both post fader.
Mm-hmm.
Man, okay. So there's no audio. Now there is.
Yes.
Okay. Heavens to Betsy. Well, I must apologize. I fall on my sword. I will own it. I do apologize to our viewers. We want to give you nothing but excellence. This is, by the way, your daily dose, your evening dose of background noise. I've always said that. And so regardless of when you're watching this now, live or in the future, this is background noise. We want both Neighborhood Nick and Crispin Smith to provide with you something that's educational, enlightening, and entertaining.
Very true.
And to that end, sometimes we are only but humans, and there will be technical errors here and there because heaven knows all of the volunteers that we have working this entire show, which is phenomenal. There goes our, look at them all the volunteers.
They killed it.
All the volunteers that
killed
put
it.
this show on, granted, there will be some technical failures. And to that end, this particular one regarding our audio was my fault. And so I do apologize to Kevin and Noe and Nathaniel and all those who are watching live and in person. So to that end, I do apologize. I think I've done enough. Neighborhood Nick, where are we at?
Well, as of right now, we're looking at our maps.
Still 179 to 214. Right? Do I have that right?
214 to 179, according to the Associated Press. According to 270, they have 169 to 246. Oops.
What was that?
That was me moving the microphone again.
Yikes.
You know, after a while, it starts cutting into your ear, and so you have to readjust things a little bit.
It's almost like they could make something better, but they didn't. And they intentionally made this just to mess with you. You know?
It's true.
It's almost like someone intentionally made a microphone that was specifically for Neighborhood Nick that would cause you the most pain. Am I interpreting this correctly?
I think so. I think so
too. Now, what is that? Oh, this is... Oh, do I have the crop wrong? I guess I do. I apologize. I wanted to get up our what we got polling, all the polling places coming out here, and see what we have on that. But my cues just do not seem to be... Ah, that's better. Here it is. Look at that. Back to this again. Still split 50-50 for you. And you're talking about New York already. You're talking about it's almost impossible. Now, interesting that
It's
the
not.
House.
It's not impossible for the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives. Part of the reason why the
my
Republicans
chair got moved.
have the majority that they do right now is
Right.
because of New York.
Right.
Is because of Florida and the major work that was done on those fronts. The presidency, on the other hand, that's a very different story. And so we're going to be kind of keeping our eye on that. There's a lot of different races going on right now. Pennsylvania is going to be neck and neck across the entire state. Honestly, that one is still, no one's calling any of those right now. I'm looking at the Associated Press map behind. They still have a big old lead for Trump in a lot of different places. I do want to just, if we do this hypothesis stuff, all right, and if we were to take, not saying this will happen, but if we were to take these states,
This is what I was asking you to do. I wanted you to put up in your little thing. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix the green screen. I'm so upset about that. But I wanted you to put up in your little thing the hypothesis of all those states that they're calling, well, that they're projecting, right? I'd like those to see. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, that's interesting. Are you making them all blue now?
No. I'm getting back to where we're at. So, people have already called these states. So right now, and this one right now, that one's still technically nothing.
I don't see a thing on your screen, dude.
That's because I haven't changed my settings yet.
Oh. Well, look at you, dude. Oh my goodness. There you are.
There's some rotation stuff that has to get done.
Right.
So Associated Press and 270 kind of looking at things a little bit differently. But I'm looking at what 270 has going on right now.
Is that an ad?
Yes, that is an ad on the far right.
Who are we advertising for?
Looks like a Linksys Wi-Fi extender.
Can I change? Let me see. As you were. Continue.
You can crop that.
We're going to do this in real time.
If we were to go with what the Associated Press is currently calling right now,
Love that.
they're not saying this is guaranteed, but we do see that there's a chance.
Ha. And we need to bring some more of that over. That's great. Technology.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if the leads
Ladies and gentlemen.
if the leads maintained the way that they do right now, you would see a blowout victory for Donald Trump. If the leads maintain the way that they do right now.
Blowouts.
We still don't know for sure,
That's good.
but
Like that.
it could be interesting, especially if Minnesota still, according to Associated Press, is
I like that a lot.
being led by Trump right now. Associated Press has now officially actually confirmed North
Make
Carolina,
that bigger.
so that one is taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
Hello there.
That's better.
I'm not willing to call Minnesota. I think Minnesota is still going to fall to the Democrats, while Wisconsin, Michigan, that could fall to the Republicans. We don't know for sure.
I like that a lot. Why would it fall to the Democrats? Minnesota is the home of Charles. It didn't
Tim
Charles.
Walz.
Huh?
Tim Walz.
No, Charles Schultz. Snoopy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But Tim Walz is also the governor
Was
of Minnesota.
Charles Schultz Democrat?
I don't know.
Well,
That much I don't know. But Tim Walz, the current VP nominee for the
Disappointing.
Democrats with Kamala Harris, he's the governor of Minnesota. I expect Minnesota is probably going to still go to the Democrats because of the Tim Walz connection. But Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, if those end up going to Donald Trump, and let's just throw in Nevada. No one knows what Nevada's going to be. We could be looking at a 312 to 226 electoral college win for Donald Trump, which would be a massive victory.
didn't this happen to us last year? I mean, last time we did this?
It did. And this is what it happened.
What happened last time?
So last time,
Because
we
I
go-
feel like,
this is 2020 coming up,
right?
if it will update.
I feel like we did this last time.
Go.
And we called it, we went to bed, we got back to our hotel rooms, and everything went to trash. And I'm not saying one way or the other in terms of which candidate we're vying for. All I'm saying is we
Okay.
just thought it was game over and we went to bed. So whatever.
So this is the 2020
Don't-
election results.
right.
And what we had thought when we went to bed was Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and Arizona.
Right.
We kind of had a beat, I think, on Georgia. But Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, those were the three that took a week to finally have someone declare victory over.
Right.
But right now, we already know a few of these have already happened. North Carolina, Georgia, those are already pretty solid. Arizona, we don't know for sure as of yet. But we're pretty close. We're pretty close if things continue the way that they do right now. It's going to come down to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. And currently, right now, all it takes is one of these.
Didn't they just call one? I think they just called. Which one? Oh wait, no. Virginia's starting to lean.
Virginia's going back to the Democrats,
Yeah.
as I was expecting. 77% in, 50% of the vote for Kamala Harris, 48% for Donald Trump. Still, not out of the realm of possibility.
It's fascinating that if you look at the breakup, if you blow up the Virginia, you only have a handful of the counties that vote blue. It's amazing to see how from a dense population standpoint, all these folks that are leaning one direction, and you only have a few places that have more densely populated areas that are leaning. And I don't exactly know, maybe you can share with the people, what on earth, urban versus rural, why, I think, I'm not trying to be disparaging, but are rural areas more self-dependent? Like, are they more dependent on themselves, so they don't want to have a bunch of government help?
It's not necessarily about the government side of things. Usually what we see is that in the urban areas, you have a lot more of a multicultural style of way of doing life. People view government help as beneficial in many regards. There is a bit of a pride factor, I would say, for the rural voter to avoid government help. But all in all, when we look at the urbanization that we see, the more urban areas, the big cities, you're going to have people of multiple ethnic backgrounds. You're going to have multi-religious centers. You're going to have a lot of people kind of focusing more on a liberal progressive agenda in their day-to-day life, looking at LGBTQ stuff, looking at abortion, women's rights, things of that sort. Those seem to take priority in cities, while in the rural areas, you see a bit of a different spin on things. You see more pushback against a lot of the progressiveness, and you see more push towards maintain tradition, the conservative way of life. Let's keep the good stuff that we have going in the right direction. You see a lot more of that instead of a push towards liberalism and progressivism. So that's some of what we see going on with the city centers versus the rural areas. Also, mind you, there is an educational factor. Now we see a lot more people on the educational realm kind of moving more towards the left. In the past, it used to be much more towards the right. You would have a lot more people on the right being college educated, being focused in on different kinds of degrees. But now what we see is that the Democrats have really taken over the institution of higher education. So you see a lot more pushback towards a lot of the conservative ways of life with education. And with education, you also get exposed to a lot more people of different kinds of backgrounds, different religions, just a plethora of that sort. So there is that aspect where cities do have a lot of the college centers. They do have a lot of the educational factors. You also see a very interesting way of kind of changing life a little bit In the rural areas, your neighborhoods, your neighbors, a lot more times you're going to know who your neighbor is. While in cities, it's much more individualist. It's much more isolation. I don't want to talk to my neighbors all the time. In the rural areas, you kind of need to talk to your neighbors, especially if something terrible happens. You need that extra support. You need that extra hand. So you have different communities kind of being built up. Republicans have been very good with gravitating towards the more traditional way of life, towards getting those farmers, those hard workers. There's been an interesting transition on that front. What's fascinating about these particular elections that we've seen from 2016 to 2024 is unions used to be 100% guaranteed for the Democrats. Not so much right now. We're starting to see a little bit of that change. The Democrats versus the Republican union. We had the Teamsters union come out and the leader of the Teamster union speak at the RNC, for example. That would never have happened in 2012, 2008, 2004, maybe not even all the way back to when that originally founded with Teamsters. Automotive workers still came out strong for Kamala Harris, but we do see some of that kind of changing. You see the uneducated, when I say uneducated, just meaning you don't have a college degree, they seem to be kind of moving more towards the Republican Party rather than where their home base was for the majority of the 20th century as the Democratic Party. Now you see the higher echelon of society, the celebrities, the doctorates, the masters, and all those moving towards the Democratic Party, while the Republicans are kind of taking in those trade workers, those union workers who are doing stuff with their hands. You have a little bit of an interesting factor going on there as well. It's nuanced. It's not clear cut and dry for a lot of people. And then on top of that, you have your fiscally conservative people, your socially liberal people, and vice versa. Your progressive spenders and your very conservative social life people. And that just throws a wrench into everything. You never know what you're going to get on that front.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still so diverse that you've got, like, what? I mean, you've got, how many people are living actually in Richmond? I mean,
In
like,
the city of Richmond?
In terms of, like the population, because I was looking at this population of Virginia in general.
Rural Richmond City.
So it's 8.7 million. And then you've got, let me see real quick here. So how population of Richmond? Because you see where I'm going with this, right?
I do see. Yes.
So 229,000. And then you've got 8.7. So let's see. Because I'm just trying to, you want to add this stuff up, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you can say, hey, well, what is, Could you dig? I'm trying to figure out what this is going on here. Let's see what's going on. So, interesting. I still can't quite figure it out, man. Because for me, if you add the point of say 229,000 folks, if they're all voting, is it true? Is it a true sample size? Basically, you dig what I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. Is it because otherwise it doesn't seem to me like it's actually a fair sample size. Because how many of those folks are actually going to be voting correctly or voting whatever they may be?
Well, again, that's where the battle has been for the turnout. Getting your base out to vote is the name of the game for elections now.
Right.
It's no longer trying to appeal to the other side and get them to want to vote for your platform. It's, hey, we don't like these people. You should come with us. And trying to get them more so, you're trying to get more people on your side who agree with you to come out to vote and not stay home. Turnout's the name of the game. It's no longer going to be victory over ideals. And there was a comment, it looks like the comment's no longer there, but there was a comment, and I do want to clarify something that has often been neglected by numerous people: the separation of church and state. When you go back to the original founding fathers with the separation of church and state, Thomas Jefferson, and this is what everyone likes to quote, is the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote talking about separation of church and state. The separation of church and state, ladies and gentlemen, had absolutely nothing to do with the government not having any religious influence or any kind of religious belief. It was having a state church where everyone pays taxes to that single church like they have in the United Kingdom with the Church of England. That's what the separation of church and state was that no single church could have political influence over Washington, D.C., over the presidency, over that. You weren't going to have someone single-handedly have to pay taxes over to this single church. Never did it say that you couldn't have religion in the government. The separation of church and state that we have now, where it's agnostic or atheistic, is a fabrication that does not take into account the actual Founding Fathers' words and is just ignorance to the point of understanding, frankly, Thomas Jefferson not necessarily wanting no religion, but not wanting a single state church. That's where it comes down to. I just wanted to clarify that taxes go to the government. They don't go to a church. That's what Thomas Jefferson wanted.
Isn't it kind of like the customer is always right? That same thing. You took the whole with the phrase of separation of church and state, but didn't you also say the customer is always right, and that's all we just leave it. The customer is always right. We just leave that phrase.
The customer is never always right.
But the original...
I will die on that hill. The customer is 90% of the time wrong.
But the original saying was the customer is always right in matters of taste. That's the actual phrase.
Yes,
So the customer has freedom of choice to do whatever they want to do. They can purchase an ugly hat. They can purchase whatever they want to do. The customer's always right in the matters of taste. But we've lost that last line, and we've said, hey, let's just go ahead and say, the customer's always right. Mm-hmm. Freedom of choice. Whatever. I mean, if they want to get in that element, that's fine. It's not really about any of those elements regarding, and if you want to say taking it out of context, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can still have a church anywhere you want to be. So where do you draw the line? Am I wrong with that?
It's not about having the church. The separation of church and state is not allowing the church to influence the government.
I see what you're saying.
And the argument that has been made in the past for the separation of church and state since, I believe it was 1962 when the bill got passed, that took public prayer out of public education. The idea was that you have to have a secular government, a secular education system. That is not what the Founding Fathers had intended. They just did not want a single denomination to have government level power.
Right.
And basically force everyone in the country to follow that belief, of which I agree with. There should be no religion mandated in the United States of America. I agree. I don't think that's a good thing at all. No religious mandates, because that's Sharia law, and that's dangerous.
Ooh, I've heard that word before. Do you want to elaborate on what that law means?
That's just Islamic law. That's all that is.
No, well, anticlimactic at least, I guess. Heavens to Betsy. I was expecting a little more meat to that. That's all right.
No, I mean, you could go to a nation where you do have, like Iran. Iran is a theocracy, technically, and they do impose Sharia law where everyone needs to be Islamic. Sure. Not everyone is, but, your culture is built around that. In the United States, we took the stance of freedom of religion. You can pick which religion you want to follow.
That's fair.
It's very fair. I think that's the good way of running.
So what? So when people mention this, what is the hang up here?
I don't know. Most people just get upset at churches because they don't pay taxes. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at corporations and businesses, they don't necessarily pay their taxes either. I mean, we don't have... Business taxes are done completely differently from income taxes. Mm-hmm. And then you have your capital gains taxes, which are going to be completely different as well. Donations, it's interesting. What is the profit margin of nonprofits, for example?
Yeah.
That's kind of the territory you get into with the taxation of churches and everything of that sort. But it's more of a side point that a lot of people don't necessarily truly care about that much anymore. Mm-hmm. But every now and then you still get the separation of church and state coming up in a lot of different places. I always say, just go back to the Constitution. When everyone has the freedom to choose whatever religion they want, they can go to whatever church, whatever mosque, whatever synagogue, whatever temple, blah, 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 whatever one you want to go with, so long, and this is a very important part, so long as you're not harming someone else. So if you're following a religion that tells you to go kill someone, that's not going to be necessarily allowed in the United States. Nor should it. Violence should not be condoned. It should be condemned in most cases.
Condemned. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the two. Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking at what we've got here. It looks like still no headway on any other of the states. What do you think is going to happen with? So we got, Virginia's over. We already know that's gone.
Virginia, I'm more confident is going to go to the Democrats. I think that's definitely going to be part right there.
In Minnesota, it looks like it's also. So
I did get word that Wisconsin, at least in the district that my colleague is working in, they have finished counting their personal ballots over there in that district. So Wisconsin, there's going to be definitely some headway coming in that realm. So we're going to be kind of taking a look over into Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, so it basically looks like what will happen is if Minnesota and Virginia both now go to Harris, looking more likely, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona. Georgia's a big one, though, and Georgia still has a really big lead, still for Donald Trump.
As of right now, yes. Now, I do also know personally for the state of Nevada, they have already told us they're not going to have anything coming up anytime soon.
Who's this?
This is Wisconsin. This is the presidential side of Wisconsin right now. Now, the thing for Wisconsin, the big thing is that, again, turnout. Everything is dependent upon the turnout. Milwaukee needs to be 70 to 80% Kamala Harris, or she will not have a chance in Wisconsin. That is going to be the determination, really. Madison and Milwaukee. If Kamala Harris is not above 70% of those by the end of tonight, I don't think she can win Wisconsin. But we're not there yet. We still have a little over 25% of the votes still to count in Wisconsin. That's still happening. Diving down into our Senate race, same thing. It's going to come down to Milwaukee and Madison. Tammy Baldwin needs those two to really spike up for her, or else things are not going to go smooth for her. But Eric Hovde, he's standing strong. He's got almost 40,000 vote lead right now. Still, again, that one, the Senate race, about 29% still to go. Not a guarantee. And in the House, we can see the U.S. House here is more than likely the majority of the U.S. House for Wisconsin is going to be Republican. Getting a little competitive in a few places, but overall, let's see, we got Brian Stile, he's looking pretty good. Mark Pecan, one for the Democrats. Gwen Moore, one for the Democrats. Orden, that's a competitive race. Fitzgerald has won.
205, got Virginia now. So they are going to be officially calling for Kamala Harris, 51%.
Virginia, yep, that makes sense for Virginia. Yeah, Wisconsin, still a very competitive state, but it looks like the majority of the representatives are going to be Republican, which is good for the House of Representatives if you're a Republican. Senate race still up in the air. Eric Hovde kind of moving up a bit. 25% still to go. Trump is expanding that lead a bit. Wisconsin could flip. And if Wisconsin flips, if Wisconsin goes over to the Republicans, that could seal the deal for Donald Trump. So we look here at 270 to win. Yep, Virginia did get called for Kamala Harris. I do want to highlight that people need to be conscientious of Nebraska and Maine. I know those two states can be a little confusing because they can alternate. They can change. They're done differently. Most states have a winner-takes-all kind of a system. Nebraska and Maine, they split it up by their congressional districts. So Maine, you're going to see Maine District 2 probably go Trump, and Nebraska District 2 go for Harris. We will yet to see. There's some gerrymandering done to try to change that a little bit. So that is still up on the table. We do have a question from our audience over here. Nick, what response do you believe may happen tomorrow after they announce the next president? Will there be protest or worse? Can we have the next question, please? That would be easier to answer.
I don't know, man. Why not?
It's going to be whichever side wins. The other side is going to be very upset.
Sure.
And I think regardless of whichever side wins, you are going to see lawsuits play into effect. I think you are going to see, I don't know necessarily if you're going to see riots. I think you will see protests. We did see protests in 2016. We saw protests in 2020. Those definitely probably will happen. I think those are more than likely going to happen regardless. One side or the other will have that happen. I don't think nothing at all. Maybe tomorrow, nothing at all, depending if we have an actual winner tonight. But I think there will be 50% of the country will be very upset, and 50% of the country will be very happy, regardless of what happens. I think also a very interesting aspect that a lot of people haven't really brought up is that the 2020 census wasn't necessarily conducted correctly. And so not all the electoral votes went where they were supposed to be. And I know that there are rumors already abounding that Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis, the governors of Texas and the governors of Florida, might be leading a lawsuit against the federal government to rectify the census problems and give the correct electoral votes. Depending on how that goes, I think that might be happening if you see Trump lose. If Harris loses, I think you're also going to see some lawsuits come out, mainly more so for like voter intimidation and things of that sort. I think either side, both sides, you're going to have that complication. People are going to be upset one way or the other. So that's the best I got right now. I don't think we're going to have riots on the streets tomorrow. I think you might see some protests, especially on college campuses if Harris loses. And you might see some protests at the Capitals if Trump loses. But tomorrow, I think, is actually people are going to wake up and it's going to be a peaceful day tomorrow. It's not going to be a super somber day like it was in 2016, I think. I think you're going to have some people a bit on fire, a bit more lively on that front. But thank you for that question. If you have any more questions, we are more than happy to take them.
Yeah, man, but it looks like in terms of right now, a lot of the action has kind of just died down. And that's typically kind of how it goes, right? With a little bit of a lull.
We are at that point now where we're in the waiting game. We are in the waiting game, waiting for those critical moments to come from.
California polls close. The polling places close at 8, right?
In California, yes.
So then
the next polls we still have are going to be Alaska and Hawaii.
Okay, got it. So then, as it stands right now, we're looking at basically we're kind of in a waiting game. This is typically how it goes the way the maps are.
We are now at the point, we know, again, the states that we had expected have come in. The states that we are waiting on is going to be Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are still being counted. The